Welcome everybody to another broadcast of Jerusalem's Gate. I tell you what, with so much bad news the last year, reporting the news. When you get some good news, I'd like to bring that up also. There's some easing of ties between South and North Korea. North Korea. This is coming from Reuters. North Korea says it will not discuss nuclear arms in talks with South, but at least they're talking. North Korea sends a delegation to South Korea to start dialogue, and you have to start somewheres. And talks is the beginning of talks is a good start. It's a real good start. And again, I want to bring good news to you whenever I find it with all this bad news the last year. But let's dive into the article. Again, this is coming from Reuters. Reuters. North Korea said on Tuesday it will not discuss its nuclear weapons in coming talks with Seoul because they were aimed only at the United States, not its, quote, brethren in South Korea. Officials from North and South said they agreed on Tuesday to hold negotiations to resolve problems and avert accidental conflict after their first official dialogue in more than 2 years. Can you believe that? Amid high tensions over the North's weapons program. Let's read a little bit more. The UN Security Council last month unanimously imposed new sanctions on North Korea in response to its test firing of an intercontinental ballistic missile. Pyongyang called them an act of war. In a joint statement after 11 hours of talks, the North pledged to send a large delegation to next month's Pyeongchang Winter Olympics in the South, but made a, quote, strong complaint after Seoul proposed talks to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula. So, one thing North Korea is definitely, hold on to is their nuclear weapons. Kim said on many situations that the discussion of getting rid of their nuclear weapons is a dead issue, that they were not under any circumstance give up their nuclear weapons. Now, our commander-in-chief said he would not put up with a nuclearized North Korea. Now, what steps will President Trump do to denuclearize them? Well, I think North Korea is feeling the heat from the sanctions. Now, China and Russia has been caught smuggling oil through a third party to North Korea. They're getting their oil from somewhere other than what's allowed in the sanctions. And I'm sure there's a huge black market which you can buy stuff also. But that's kind of strange. China, agrees to the sanctions, but yet through a third party sells tankerfuls of oil. So that's something that really I would take a look at. But again, it has to start somewhere, and at least they're talking. And but if our government is set on a denuclearized North Korea, I think they're barking up the wrong tree. I think they will never see that. Kim knows that as long as he has nuclear weapons, nobody will attack him, and he will be in his own mind safe from any attacks. Is that true? Yes or no? I don't know. But I think Kim is a type of character that if he's pushed in a corner, I think he may use him if he's pushed in a corner. So that's his last defense is the nuclear weapons. And do we wait and play it out and see how the sanctions unfold? Or we give him more time. As we speak, he's perfecting his intercontinental ballistic missiles and putting warheads on top of those missiles. And they may just be doing the talks to buy more time. So, but I wanted to give you a little good news. At least they're talking. this North Korea crossed the demilitarized zone and talked to the had discussions with the South, which is good. Let's go ahead and play this short little video from Reuters.
A North Korean delegation making strides across the world's most heavily militarized border into the south, crossing it for the first time in more than 2 years. Seoul and Pyongyang kicked off formal talks on Tuesday with an optimistic outlook on the Winter Olympics next month. North Korea has confirmed it will also send a high-ranking delegation to the Games, along with a cheering squad whose past performances have been a huge hit in the South. Seoul has also suggested that athletes from both sides march together during the opening ceremony, a sign of unity often used in times of sunnier relations. The North's missiles are a trickier subject, though as Reuters' Soyoung Kim explains, there's more at play than the Winter Games.
Although Washington and Tokyo have shown skepticism to this meeting, if it doesn't do anything about resolving the nuclear issue, but the fact that a small window to dialogue is open could be meaningful. It was no secret that Seoul has been very keen to bring on North Koreans, as they believe that having North Koreans would be their ticket to a peaceful Olympics. But we didn't expect this level of enthusiasm from northern side. It could be a sign that Pyongyang is equally keen on attending the Games and possibly see it as a way to blunt the impact of international sanctions and isolation placed on North Korea for its defiant weapons program.
Despite the narrow agenda on Tuesday, all eyes around the globe are focused on the talks, which could stretch on into the week, with world leaders eager to see signs that tensions over Pyongyang's nuclear program are cooling off.
Our talks begin after a long period of severed ties between the North and the South, but I believe the first step is half the journey.
To keep relations on the good side, South Korea also proposed talks between both militaries and a reunion of family members in time for February's Lunar New Year holiday.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll go ahead and close. You're watching and listening to another broadcast of Jerusalem's Gate. One last thing before I close. If God has touched your heart to subscribe, by all means, please subscribe. We make no money on Jerusalem's Gate. We do it strictly for the love of the gospel and to get the news out with a Christian perspective. With that being said, God bless you and God bless your family this new year. Shalom.